Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at Arizona Statewide Conference. My name is Marvila Rocha, and I'm the Senior Coordinator for Special Events at Student Engagement and Career Development here at the University of Arizona. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce you to our presenter, Eva Johnson. She is the Career and Volunteer Coordinator of Alumni Engagement at Northern Arizona University. Eva has been with NAU for the last 15 years, and now she's going to be presenting Pivot, Embracing the Opportunities presented by the pandemic. Eva, I'll let you take over now. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate you being here and for joining me for this session. How's the morning been going so far? I hope that everybody's been enjoying it. Got a couple thumbs up. That's great. I've always really enjoyed this conference, so it's been especially exciting for me to be preparing to present today, because I just really enjoyed how this conference is set up and getting to interact with the career services employees from across the state. Especially on the alumni side, I really appreciate getting the input from everyone and what they're doing for higher education, especially on the career services side. So thank you all for joining me today. It's a real honor. So what I would like to do first is just introduce myself, give a little bit of background about who I am and why I decided to talk about what I wanted to talk about today. So again, my name is Eva Johnson, and I've been with NAU for 15 years, but I've been in my current role with alumni engagement for just over 2.5 years. And why I wanted to cover a COVID-related topic when that's all that we're hearing about today or these days, is because when it became apparent to me, or apparent in general, that COVID-19 was definitely going to be a big deal and definitely going to be around for a while, I had to really start checking in with myself and doing some reality checks in general about how I was going to react to the constant news about so many people being impacted in so many ways, and how much I was going to allow myself to listen to or read the news about it, because I tend to get really wrapped up in things like that and dwell on it. And so I spent the last few years experiencing some major personal celebrations. I got married and we had some big family stuff happen. And then I also had some major personal losses, some losses in the family and other big personal things. And so, of course, I've been left with a little bit of emotional whiplash. So now coming into this COVID world, not to mention all of the many layers that have been added since, I've emerged from my recent emotional whiplash with the experience knowing that I need to and am capable of maintaining a healthy handle on things, and as these big changes come, both at work and at home. And as my dad, the retired rocket scientist, would say, flexibility is the key to air power. And if any of my coworkers are watching this presentation, they would say, of course she fit that in. But so anyhow, right now in these days, and not to mention everything else coming up lately, I have been practicing a lot of openness to flexibility, reframing, seeking opportunities around the art of the pivot. And so that is why I really wanted to focus today on how I could, I'm trying to re-find my screen sharing here, how I could share with you how we have put this into play for our best work with some new opportunities in our office. And it has worked really well, and I'm very excited to share this with you. And I promise I won't be doing friends references the whole time, but I kind of liked it. And if you're right with me with the love for pivot, then I hope you'll enjoy it. But the episode is the one with the cop if you need the reference for when you get home later and have to watch it. But today I'm going to be addressing a few aspects of some adaptability of programming surrounding student and alumni career engagement and mentorship. Specifically, I'm going to show this adaptability as seen exemplified through programming with a program, a program that adjustments that we've had to make to a program that I've been helping to coordinate called the Lumberjacks Thrive Externship Program. I'm going to give some background about the Thrive program, including our extensive partnerships in this collaboration. We'll talk about who is involved in this program directly and indirectly. I'm going to review our initial intended timeline and compare it to our drastically different post-COVID-19 adaptation of the program. We'll talk about some learning outcomes and provide evidence of the significant benefits and added value developing out of the program pivot. We're going to talk about our engagement through pivoting our focus to virtual programming and the new opportunity to add a year of engagement through developing this. And I will share our new Lumberjacks Thrive engagement outlook. And we'll also briefly touch on other programming adaptations as well in the Office of Alumni Engagement. And we'll wrap up with some question and answer and group discussion, because I'd really love to know whether or how the opportunity to pivot is benefiting your programming as well, where you are. So I would love for us really quickly, if you don't mind participating real quick, to go ahead and just in the chat, if you wouldn't mind sharing in what ways have you had to pivot your programming for your office, whether it's just a complete stop, if you've just put everything on pause until everything gets back to normal, if you're doing all the same programming you were doing, so everything just virtual now. Are you guys participating with just trying to do everything to make sure you're staying relevant? Okay. Virtual advising, mentorship programs. And then this will give us all an idea of what everybody else is doing as well. Everything is moved to Zoom. Oh, started recording everything. Is that so that you can share everything with folks later? Do you post what you've recorded, Olivia? There's some virtual engagement. Okay, removing in person. Oh, that's cool. Olivia, so they've recorded everything that they've moved to online, and they've put everything on their YouTube channel. That's really cool. Stronger presence on YouTube. Okay, so this is all very, I mean, it's not surprising that everybody is switching to virtual, because that's kind of our option at the moment, but it's good to see that There's also communicating a drop-in space to a virtual drop-in space. So it's good to see that everybody is, you know, continuing to offer options to students and possibly alumni as well. Facebook Lives interview different career professionals. That's awesome as well. We've been kind of dabbling in the possibility of doing that as well. We did a Facebook Live for our Giving Day recently. That was very successful. So we're considering moving that to some of our other programming as well. Virtual career fairs, we've been seeing some of that as well. So that's excellent. Internal internship program with external projects, very cool. Well, thank you all for participating in that. We may talk about that a little bit more toward the end of the program as well, if there's still time. So basically, I just wanted to kind of jump in on that because just wanted to kind of get a feel for where everybody was at as we got going here. So I'd like to introduce you all to the Lumberjacks Thrive program, the Wilson Family Lumberjacks Thrive program. And the Lumberjacks Thrive is the result of a philanthropic investment by two generous, spirited alumni, Greg and Nancy Wilson, who wanted to give back to their alma mater and who had a vision of connecting Northern Arizona University students and alumni through career mentorship. Their gift provided funding for multiple programs, including a grant, a graduate assistantship, and much more. The Lumberjacks Thrive Externship is that program. The Lumberjacks Thrive Externship Program is also one of these subset programs. And it's a collaborative effort between several departments on campus, including the NAU Advancement Foundation, the Office of Alumni Engagement, and of course, our NAU Career Development Office. And this is, of course, our pilot cohort of the Lumberjacks Thrive Externship. This is the first year that we've done it. And as this was our first year, the Office of Alumni Engagement, directly approached 7 alumni host mentors about the opportunity, who initially agreed to participate in the program. So that gave us 7 externships to offer up to students to participate. And during the selection process for the first year, we had 19 applicants for the externships, which yielded our final 10 externs. And because this position is going to be working very closely with the externship, our Wilson Family Graduate Assistant position, we did have 8 applicants for that single sponsored graduate assistant position. So we're all excited that everybody got selected and was moving forward into the program. And while I'm at it, because I still get questions even from career professionals, I should address what an externship is. So an externship is similar to an internship in that it can be used to help give someone experience and help enhance a person's resume. However, more specifically, an externship is used significantly, usually significantly shorter. They're often unpaid. They usually don't involve course credit. The benefit is specifically the direct focus on a particular skill set or development of a specific skill, the practical experience, and is frequently established as either the networking or the job shadowing emphasis. They're really perfect as career experiments For the folks that are still in major exploration or trying to figure out if a particular major or career field is one that they want to keep on their list, or if they want to scratch that one right off. So those are the types of things that we had in mind when we were exploring not only the externships that we had in mind, but also the students that we were considering having join us as externs. So the verbiage that you see here is what we were using as we were promoting the experience to our students. Excuse me. And a quick look at the plan as we had originally intended it. And as you can see, it was going to have a lot of action-packed timing, a lot included in it, but it was going to be pretty short and sweet. We were going to have a lot packed into just a few months. We were going to include not only the announcements and the matches and everybody getting together to meet each other and start getting to know one another over the course of the months leading up to the externship, but we were going to have our pre-departure meeting to wrap up the last of the details, but then they were pretty much going to be on their way to their externships. And from that point, then they were going to be off to their 2 to 4 day experiences at the work sites, being shown around and getting the day in the life experience of the alumni host mentors. And then once they returned, we were going to do a quick evaluation of how it went, and then pretty much start planning for the following year's recruitment. So it was going to be pretty fast and furious, but it was going to be great. And then COVID happened. And then we had some time to figure out what we were going to do about changing things up. And as you can see, we had a chance to really kind of expand and reframe, hence my new frame here, what we were going to do with the program. So by mid-March, we had the matches announced, and there was this giant hovering question mark about what was going to be happening with COVID. But by the end of March, we knew that our in-person externships were not going to be happening in May. So we made the announcement that plans would be forthcoming, but that the externships would actually be happening in May of 2021. So stay tuned and we'll get you that information. By April, we were able to invite all of our participants to our first virtual networking event hosted by the Office of Alumni Engagement, and get everybody at least in the same room. Most of them were able to participate and interact with other students and alumni for a virtual networking event, and it was well attended and it was a good experience for everyone. And we continued to encourage communication between the externs and the alumni host mentors. Meanwhile, still figuring out what the rest of the year was going to look like. By May, we hosted a virtual kickoff event, kind of our official, okay, we've got our act together, let's figure out what's going on. And we brought all the participants together and allowed them to connect face to face and hear details about the program and plans for the coming year. We provided resources such as information about our career development office, invitations for them to get their resumes and cover letters updated. We provided information about invitations to complete informational interviews with between the externs and our alumni host mentors, and suggested that they take the summers to complete that. It's not our goal to overload our participants with all this extra time by giving them a lot of extra work. So we have added just enough content to give them a lot of additional, really useful information that will supplement what they're doing through this program, and make their experience next May all the more wonderful. We figure we've added probably 1 to at max 3 hours per month over the academic year, and a lot of that is suggested. And so we suggested that they get a head start on it over the summer if they happen to have additional time, but we also don't want to squish their plans if they are actually on vacation or taking time to relax during these stressful times. So during the fall semester, we're providing workshops hosted through NAU Career Development, starting with the Strengths Finder. And we are inviting all participants to alumni engagement and career development hosted events, including virtual networking and things along those lines. We're going to be offering some similar programming during the spring semester, while also including their pre-departure meetings and making sure that all of the details for their externship are tied up nicely, including their travel plans, their lodging, and things along those lines. And those are the details that are also paid for by the program. And come May and June, in theory, provided that COVID doesn't mess with anything again, they should be able to get on with their externship experience, and we're really looking forward to it. But this time, they will have been participating in mentorship moments along the way with their alumni host mentors, and they will have already had a well-established relationship. And so they're going to be arriving on scene at their work site with friends instead of just their somewhat stranger alumni host mentors. And so this is going to be a really amazing opportunity for them. And then after they wrap up these experiences, they're going to have hopefully an ongoing relationship of mentorship that should continue on through the rest of their college experience and hopefully beyond. In theory, if this is the right career path for them, this could lead to possibly a job down the line, or at least continued mentorship to help them know whether or not this is the line of work that they want to go into. It never hurts to have an adult in the line of work that you do want to go into, or even a mentor who can help you figure out that this isn't the line of work that you want to go into, and continue that conversation. And you're all career professionals, so you know that. Now, again, I would like to invite you all to participate in the chat with another question. So in what ways have your campus or community partnerships been enhanced or even possibly hindered by your necessity to pivot? Have possibly the partnerships that you've been taking care of all this time, is everybody taking care of their own stuff right now, or so they're too busy to maintain your relationship? Is the new added time to communicate the best thing that's ever happened? Is everybody just faking it till you make it? Some local employers are going to be invited to Statewide to present but unfortunately didn't make as much sense in the new format. That can certainly happen. Sometimes new formats don't always work. It's not always as conducive. Does anybody else have anything to say about enhanced or hindered community or campus partnerships? Some have certainly been enhanced. Some have been hard to maintain. Yeah, everybody's dealing with their own issues, so sometimes it's really hard. Yeah, Marissa, we're experiencing the same thing, that alumni from any location can get involved, which is awesome. And that has been such a blessing. Alumni services working with the team, create new informational interviewing opportunities. That is fantastic. June been more active because partners now been, yeah. So now that everybody's kind of getting the hang of how all of this stuff works, some communication is stepping up a little bit more. So June's been a little bit more active with interactions and communications on different partnerships and projects. So I feel that too. More accessible for some students, but lack of engagement is challenging opportunity to also expand. And certainly we're all seeing definitely some hangups in communications for people who haven't had access as well. NAU has definitely been seeing that for a lot of different reasons, for class completion, for service outreach, all the things. So thank you for that comment as well, Angela. Thank you all for participating in that as well. And we can certainly talk about that at the end if there is more time as well. So just a few words on engagement and on our lessons learned. So our learning outcomes, it's a little hard to just summarize them because this is, of course, an ongoing program. So we're not going to see all of the outcomes of our first year of the Lumberjacks Thrive pivot until the end of our first year, which is going to now be summer of 2021. But of course, we're keeping a close eye on things as we go. But so far, we've seen just incredible benefits from pivoting the focus to virtual programming. And we were going to have some element of that to begin with because our alumni host mentors and therefore the externships are spread out across the country. We have one in Washington, D.C., we have some in California, Colorado, and across the state of Arizona. And so there was definitely going to be some element of needing outreach to some extent, but now having to be able to expand this to a full year-long program instead of just the fast and furious few months is just a completely unforeseen and a totally beautiful consequence that we didn't expect. So that is amazing. And unfortunately, we did have some unforeseen consequences as well. Like we did have one student who's not able to proceed with the program because he was an exchange student and his exchange ended this academic year. And also one of our alumni had to close her business and she had agreed to host 3 of our externs. And so we're doing a little bit of rearranging right now to make sure that everyone is participating and has the best experience possible over the next not only coming year, but also for their in-person externships in the summer of 2021. And among our successes for Lumberjacks Thrive, as well as for the other programming for alumni engagement, this opportunity is, like it was said in the chat, is allowing us to connect with people, our whole population from all over. We have hosted virtual meetings before, but this is really our first attempt at efforts for offering educational and social purposes, and it's been so awesome. And we've had wonderful participation. In terms of engagement specifically, our engagement for other student and alumni programming has transitioned very well to a virtual environment too. Among our COVID programming near casualties was our spring spring student and alumni career mixer, which was to be held on April 1st. I'm not joking. However, with some quick planning and the help of several offices around campus, we were able to make a super fast pivot to host our first student and alumni virtual mixer at the end of April, and focused that event on resiliency and staying positive in challenging times. And it was a great first virtual venture. And since then, the Office of Alumni Engagement has also hosted several other very successful programs, including our virtual coffee break, which you see the picture of on your screen. And that focused on our graduates of the last 10 years. And we will start hosting these monthly and aim to ensure that these include some kind of career focus in most of our conversations. Other virtual programming has included chapter programming and is about to also start including our virtual book club and a virtual run, among other things. And we're very excited to see how all of that will progress as well. And now, with a little bit of time left, I would love to pivot to the positive and see really how everyone here is doing with their pivots. I would love to open up the chat either for question and answers, if this is a good time, if you're ready to do that. Also, if anybody has anything that they would like to share about programming that your teams or you as individuals would like to share that you have had to make because of either the COVID situation or anything in particular that has happened lately. COVID is not the only craziness that has happened in our lives lately, but if there's anything else that you would like to share, if you'd like to either raise your hand in the participants box and make a statement out loud, I would love to have you share your story instead of just chatting, or you can certainly go ahead and just put a chat in the box. But I would love to hear how you have embraced the opportunities presented to you by the pandemic. Is anybody willing to share a success story from your team or you individually? Our externship program, the Lumberjacks Thrive Externship Program, I need to give a shout out here too. It's not only a collaboration between several of our offices on campus, but it was also modeled after our job shadowing program at NAU through the Franke College of Business They were extremely influential in how we designed our program. It's an executive job shadow program, and so we took a lot of cues from them when we were building our program. So thanks to them as well. But does anybody else have anything that they would like to mention or ask about in these last few minutes? Even on a, oh yeah. Ariel, I can unmute you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, so thank you so much. This was very interesting. Really like the information, like the framework of the pivot, as well as just the program itself seems really interesting.
Great.
So I just wanted to, I guess, kind of throw a shout out to our EAE team, our employer and alumni relations team. And they did we usually have a job shadow program, and of course that had to be changed, and it was created basically for informational interviews, short meetings with professionals, and they did a lot of pairing people together, and a lot of great work there, and a very quick pivot of this program. And so I think we're recording all these sessions, and Justin Finnerty is the one who was presenting on this. I'm sorry, I'm Ariel Torres, by the way, from the University of Arizona. So, and so if you want to go and watch that session as well, I think it kind of flows well with this session, just kind of different ideas for how that worked and the partnerships that were created, as well using an alumni. It sounds like a lot of us had that trend of, alumni engagement can be a great tool to use at this point. So if anyone's interested, like I said, Justin is also doing a session at the same time on a similar topic.
Great. I really appreciate that. Having the opportunity to engage alumni with current students is not only such a valuable tool for our alumni, but also, like, of course, it's completely invaluable for our students. And it is an amazing way for our alumni to be able to give back to the university, but it's also, it's really what keeps it going, and it's what makes our students really want to stay engaged with the university after they graduate, and it's completely cyclical, and it's a wonderful, wonderful resource. So thank you so much for that, Ariel. I really appreciate that plug, and I'm glad he's doing the session. Does anybody else have any final comments or questions? Anything else that they want to add about adjustments that they had to do, lessons that they've learned about how this shifting process has happened, tips, tricks? Even in your personal life, it's good to know, really how this has all been adjusting for everyone. I've been really plugging our programming lately to be focused around, staying positive in challenging times and focusing on the self-care and things along those lines. And only recently have we kind of started tiptoeing around the fact that we're actually going to probably start having to start addressing those difficult conversations too. Our initial April mixer, our career mixer, was supposed to, of course, be focused around careers. And when we pivoted that to the virtual mixer, we initially thought that maybe so soon after all the chaos and craziness of COVID and things along those lines, we still hadn't quite gotten a grasp of how our alumni were really being impacted, who was losing jobs, who was having what kind of experience with their careers. And so we weren't really sure if we were gonna be insensitive to offer an opportunity for our alumni to come and talk careers with our students by the end of April. So we did make that adjustment by having that event be that resiliency topic instead, and more about staying positive and how do you keep your chin up during difficult times. And so, but now that it's, of course, a little while later and things are a little bit more the way they've been for a while, we figure we'll probably start addressing careers a little bit more in our upcoming programming. Hi, Marbila.
How are you, Eva?
Good.
So there is something that happened very interesting in the positive side in our employer and alumni relations team, our engagement team. And something that we saw related to what my colleague Ariel was talking about is that so many employers who rescinded their internships for the summer, we saw a different trend, and of course it's unique in the sense that at least 3 of our employers reach out saying, what can we do? We feel so bad about what's going on, and us doing this to the students, that they actually, each one of them came up with a different idea. One of them was to provide gift cards to the students that unfortunately they were not able to host for the summer, and half of the cost of their week-long expenses, right, that they were going to incur for being out there in Chicago or in other places in the country. And that was really neat that they were able to provide that to the students, unfortunately, for the hardship. Another one was able to provide $2,500 scholarship for the students moving on to the next the next semester. Little things like that that we thought was extremely valuable and supporting for our students, and for the employers to come up with that, we felt like extremely blessed and felt really good about it. So just tips like that when employers reach out to you saying, what can I do? How can I support students? Those are positive effects or impacts that reflects into that.
Absolutely. That is an incredible gesture. And thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. That is awesome. So we've seen such awesome adaptability through entire programs, through just individuals who have had to make small shifts, even just in adapting to working from home or whatever. Our students and faculty members and our entire universities have turned upside down to not only finish the semester, but in preparation for the fall. And of course, everyone's dealing with their own personal shifts and adaptabilities and figuring out what's coming up. And I mean, it's hard to put the positive in these thoughts sometimes because there's still so much unknown. But if we can keep ourselves open to what's coming up and how to put a positive spin on it, sometimes that can translate into our programming and into our impact on others. And so if we keep ourselves open to the possibilities, it can really make such a big difference for the people that we're serving, especially in careers. There are few areas of the world and of jobs, of careers in general, that are less certain than career services. Not in terms of our own employability, but we are the ones who are teaching others how to be adaptable and how to be flexible, because there's nothing that says that if we teach a person these skills that they're still going to get the jobs that they apply for. So we're the ones teaching adaptability. So the more that we are adaptable in our programming, in our own flexibility personally, the more we can radiate that to others, the better. And I promise I'm not here to say that I'm super great at it. Like I said, I still have my breakdown moments, but you know, the more that we rely on others to help get us through those tough moments and things like that, or the more that we understand what help we give to ourselves to help give to others, and teach people those skills. We know that. We're the career professionals. So anyway, I don't want to preach at you all about that, but I just want to thank you all so much for spending this time with me, for putting up with my cheesy pivots. And if you have additional questions about NAU's program, or about the pivot process, about my personal pivot thought process, or anything along those lines, I'm definitely happy to continue this conversation with you. My contact information is here at the bottom. And again, thank you so much for spending this time with me and participating in the conversation. I wish you all the very best of luck as we continue to pivot moving forward. And if anybody needs a good laugh and some stress relief, go watch the Friends episode. It's the one with the cop and the couch and the stairwell. So anyway, I wish you all the very best. Stay well, and best of luck with your pivoting endeavors. Thank you.